What makes Ikaria a centenarian zone? I will show you. I'm right behind under a fig tree, and you know fig is one of the most nutritious flowers that you could eat when it's in season. Right now it's not in season, so I can't show you, but we'll show you the garden, which is the reason for why a lot of people who live here, who practice the traditional way of life, live such a healthy life. What is that? Is, you know, movement outside in the sunlight, whether they are gardening or they are building things. In either case, they move outside in the sunlight. The gardening is better because people grow their own food here, they eat them, and they have some of the most useful fruit trees, right? Like if you consider, you know, a fig as a fruit tree, then it is one of the most useful, but it's considered a flower, I suppose. Then you got olives. You already know about the olive oil. The pickled olives are even better than the olive oil themselves if you don't pickle with a lot of salt. So that's something that I learned here. Last year I was here, I didn't know that. I thought the olive oil was healthiest. And speaking of last year, it all started with coming here and researching, studying longevity. For the first time, started writing my book. I have returned to complete the book because in the meantime, there was a lot of books I had to read about longevity and learn it, make the book more informative and scientific and so on. Anyways, so movement outside in the sunlight matters, and especially gardening. On this island, returning here, I get to experience a bunch of other things, like going to certain excursions, like some of the most beautiful waterfall and places in nature where you can swim in there and there's nobody around. Skinny dipping, if you're into that. Feels good. And actually, you know what? Skinny dipping is good for longevity. Why? Well, because when you're all nude, you get more sunlight on your skin because it's all about absorption, right? If you wear a lot of clothes, it may block that absorption. We humans have evolved to be moving outside a lot and not wearing so much clothes, I don't think. Well, especially during the summertime. When you see some of the tribes in Africa, you know, like the man has only like a small piece of clothing to cover him. It's all about absorption, right? How much you can absorb the sun. That's why I always advocate to be outside in the sunlight as much as you can. Move outside. Do whatever it is that you try to do it outside. And I realize here that the more that I'm outside, the more sleep I get. I average 10 hours of sleep per day. I even have proof for it too. At least 1 week proof of it. It's just that my body can tell the difference between day and night, and it just makes it easier for sleep. So full of adventures, the beach, the mountain, Panayiri, which is a festival celebration to celebrate the gods, and you get to eat delicious food and meet and talk to interesting people and dancing. Speaking of the dancing, like it's interesting, like the Ikarians, they almost have to celebrate. For me, I'm leaving, and my 85-year-old friend Poppy, she throws me a goodbye party, and you know, we get to eat good food and dancing and all that stuff. So it's like, even when there's a election day, it's a get together and celebrate with eating, and you know, it's good with socialization, friends. They're like some of the foundational longevity practices, like getting together and dancing. That's movement, and being together with family and friends that de-stresses you and things like that. So really good stuff. Another thing that I learned when I'm here, last year when I was here was October, so it was a different time. But this year, like now is June, May and June, there's still some wild greens that I learned. So I learned at least 3 wild greens, which kind of like dandelions, so stuff that you can eat. Well, it's considered a weed, right? But it's grown in the garden, and it's organic and local, and it's fresh. Couldn't be any fresher. So let me show you the garden. So here you'll see squash, probably. In this garden, there's probably eggplant here. And then you got tomatoes, Gotta be careful with the tomato. Make sure you prepare it correctly or have a pressure cooker. And then this is a big fig tree. It's an almond tree, I think. But I don't think almond is good for longevity though. And then sour cherries. These are either sweet potatoes. I'm not quite sure which potatoes. And this is the fruit that is fully ripened yet. It looks kind of like an apple, but it grows a lot bigger, like as big as an apple, even bigger. But the way you eat this fruit is very different. You have to cook it. So I'm gonna have to return here maybe in October for it to ripen and cook it, eat it, and show you, let you know what it tastes like. Those kale? I'm not sure. This is olives, in case you're not familiar with an olive tree. People around here, everyone seems to have a garden. That's why it really contributes to their longevity. And of course, if you're not familiar with this tree, it's a grape, right? When you make wine out of it, then you get fermented food. There's a lot of grapes. So wild greens, right? This is what I learned while I'm here, like for this plant. So you pick it and you see, you notice it has the milk. Yeah, that. This, you can eat it raw, you can cook it. More of like, it's both a longevity and a survival skill in case you don't have food. And you probably recognize this weed. I don't quite know the plant. The name of the plant, but another way, like what I learned, see, it has the milky thing too. Pay attention to the shape of this plant. There's the milk. There's another edible wild green. Same one here. There's another one that I learned what I show you if I see it. So this is the next door neighbor has sour cherries. The next door neighbor also has olives, very important. Same thing, there's similar patterns with the olives, the figs, and the grapes right here. I found nearby there's dill-like looking plants. That's a third wild greens that I learned. So I've been just picking them and eating them. Problem with the stores, the market, the supermarkets, they don't have organic vegetables. Even if I want to buy them, I couldn't buy them. It makes the wild greens very useful for me to eat. Nutritious, good for longevity, obviously. Oh, nearby there's another one. So this one is another edible wild greens that you can pick, and should be able to see the milk. Yeah, there it is. See the milk? So that's how you can tell. My friend also tells me this sour cherries, is it's a good detox. I don't know if it's true or not, but if it's good, then it's great. We could use more detox in our environment. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you what Ikaria is like and what contributes to their longevity. It's really movement outside in sunlight through gardening, because almost everyone has a garden here. Thank you.